anyhow, all right, okay. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Oh shit! I bet you I have it going in the background. It hasn't started up yet, but it's going to start up. I gotta mute it. There we go. All right. So I am hanging out here with Justin, and Justin, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. You and I were in a chat room of one of these many videos that I go and watch, and I forget exactly what video it was, but you and I got into a discussion about something, and we had a disagreement, and we agreed to arrange a time, come together, and talk about it. So now we've done that. So I'll let you introduce yourself if you want, or.
I'm Justin. I have a channel called GMCDXX. It's mostly satire, making fun of shit.
Mm-hmm. And what is your channel about? I mean, from what perspective do you come from?
Just making fun of NASA stuff for the most part. But I make fun of whatever I see is ridiculous to me.
All right. So we'll go down the list of like conspiracy stuff, and then where you and I disagree. But we're going to focus on the McMartin preschool. But I'm just curious, just kind of to get an idea of where you're at. So flat Earth, does it exist? What do you think about flat Earth?
I think there's something to it. I think most of the channels are bullshit, but there are real channels. And
okay, all right. We're not going to dwell on it. Okay, mole men living in the middle of the earth. What do you think about that?
I never looked into it. Sounds crazy.
All right, that's fine. Reptilian overlords who either come from extra dimensions or outer space.
I think it's funny, and I think there's a lot of funny channels like that. But
okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. We're just going down the line. I just want to see what level of whack job I'm working with here. All right. Let's see the next one. Okay. Illuminati runs the world.
That's fucking nonsense. I think the plutocracy runs the world. Corporations.
All right. Illuminati in cahoots with Freemasons run the world.
Yeah, it's just more nonsense. You know, the Freemasons are mostly a charity organization.
Okay. All right. A Luciferian Freemason Illuminati conspiracy runs the world.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Okay. Okay. An occult Luciferian Freemason Illuminati conspiracy or cult group somehow runs the world.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. You know, there might be some people that in politics that believe that stuff, but how are we to know?
Okay. All right. I'm just going down the line, just seeing where you and I differ. So, all right. Now, I know that you and I also differ on on a couple of cases. One was the McMartin, the West Memphis 3 and the McMartin preschool. And you and I got into it a little bit before we went live on the West Memphis 3. And we got into a good discussion about that, and it just sort of organically happened, but we weren't live at that time.
Yeah.
But let's kind of re-summarize sort of our position about that. So I know there was some question about whether or not that I understood your position. That was a question you posed to me, and I recited back to you what I believed your position was. So why don't you solidify for myself and also for the viewers, what is your position on the West Memphis 3? And then we'll discuss from there.
I think they killed little kids and they got off easy. And they got off with the help of people with money. You know, Hollywood, you know. But as far as it being part of something bigger, I don't think there's proof of that. I think that a lot of religious people, whether they're Catholic, Christian, or into the occult, they might take whatever book they're into and interpret it their own way, and you know what I mean? Do some crazy, you know.
Okay. All right. Do you think that summarizes your position?
On that case, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I I believe that those three individuals were there was a rush to judgment to believe that there was some kind of an occult involvement. I don't know exactly who murdered those kids. I believe that they are innocent of it. However, they pled guilty and they did serve time for it. And then they, with the help of a lawyer, got their sentence reduced and went in for what is called an outward plea, so that their sentence was reduced to time served. However, their record is not expunged, so they still, on their record it says that they had committed their crimes, and then they're still working to try and get that reduced. So they pled guilty to the crime. They served their time, and to me, that's the end of the case. But you feel that they did or did not serve? Do you feel that justice was served?
No.
Okay. Why do you not feel that justice was served?
Because they confessed, and they threw it out later. So, I mean, it's whatever you want to believe. If you want to believe they're totally innocent, that's on you.
Well, yeah, obviously you and I are going to have different feelings about this. You and I are both going to have our bias. I mean, come on, we're human. Of course, we're going to have our own bias. My bias is very obvious. My bias is I believe that they were railroaded into turning in a guilty plea. However, I also, my rational side, the side of me where I try to remain neutral, understands that they pled guilty to it and they served their time. So I'm wondering so you feel that there was no justice served. So do you feel that they should have served more time? Do you think they should have been executed? I mean, what is it makes you feel that justice was not served?
I don't know. I couldn't say what should have been done. All I could say is that, there's some dead kids and there's like physical evidence and there's a confession. I mean,
okay, but that's all stuff that supports their guilt.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as what if should have been done, I couldn't say.
Yeah.
But something happened is,
Yeah. But your argument comes back. You come back to, the kids are dead. There's evidence for this. So that's all pertaining to the guilt. That part has already been established. I'm past that point. I'm willing to go back in time if you want and look at it again or whatever. We can judge all the facts of the case if you really want to. But rather than going back and rehashing that, because they pled guilty, they served their time, and now they're released from jail. I'm just wondering why you feel justice was not served.
I mean, if they killed kids and they're out in the free world, how is that justice?
Okay, let's flip that on the side. What if they're innocent and they were railroaded into turning in a guilty plea and they're actually innocent? Yeah. So now you see, it doesn't it's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I looked a lot into that case a while ago and just looked like there's just a lot of.
Were you a juror?
No, I wasn't a juror, but
were you the judge?
No, but you can
look. Were you one of the arresting officers?
Check it out. You could look online and there's
Were you one of the arresting officers?
There's videos of the case online and you could watch.
Did you live in the town where this case took place?
No, I wasn't, but
okay. So you probably know as much as I do about the case, or anybody else who can do a simple Google search.
Right.
Okay.
But it is public. It is public. The transcripts of the case are public, and you can Google that too.
So when somebody is found guilty of a crime and they are sentenced for it, what do you think should happen after that? Should they just stay in jail for the rest of their life? I mean,
It depends on the crime.
Feel is sufficient punishment for a crime?
I don't know. I haven't thought that much about it, but I mean, it depends on the crime. Definitely, like for drugs, no one should go to jail for drugs.
Why not?
Because it's a victimless crime.
What happens if somebody gets hurt or run over in an automobile when somebody's under the influence of a drug?
Then it's not a victimless crime. They've been driving under the influence.
Okay, so drugs are a crime where somebody can be hurt in.
Not drug sales by themselves, but yeah, if you're driving under.
Well, even drug sales can be dangerous. You know, most gang members who carry guns are not just carrying. You know, I mean, there's a reason why they carry guns.
What do you think should be done? Do you think people? I mean, people get harder sentences for drugs than murder.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're going off on a rabbit trail here. But anyhow, so what do you think should have happened with the West Memphis Three? What in your perfect world, if you were the god of the universe and you had control over this entire situation, what do you think would have been sufficient punishment for those three teenagers who pled guilty?
I mean, if they are guilty of the crimes, I think they should be in prison.
You're God of this universe, so it's all up to you.
Yeah, like what I just said. If they are guilty, they should still be in jail. But if they're not, yeah, they should be free.
Okay. So, but they've already. We I don't know how much longer we should spend on this, but they pled guilty and they served time and then they were released. So what exactly have they done? I mean, what is the crime now? You feel that there wasn't sufficient punishment?
Just my opinion. Looking at it, it looks like they're guilty. So.
Okay, so in your opinion, they're guilty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like.
They were found guilty.
Yeah.
Found guilty. They were punished.
Yeah.
They were put in jail. They served time in jail. They were released. They were. It was an outward plea, and it was reduced, and it was time served, and they were released from prison. So they were found guilty already. This has been established. Okay. Yeah. They served the sentence. You do not feel that the sentence that they served was punishment enough. So I gave you the option of being the perfect, omnipotent God of this entire universe and gave you absolute control of it. And your answer to me was that they were guilty. We've already established that. What type of punishment should they have received?
Like I said, if they're guilty, whatever, they should still be in jail. I mean, they fucking murdered little kids.
Okay. Were they found guilty or not found guilty?
I mean, I don't know what you're trying to get out of this.
Yes or no answer.
You just said they were found guilty when they pled guilty. You just said that. So I don't know what the argument is here. Because I really don't I don't spend my time thinking about this case.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
All right. Well, whatever. Do you want to move on to the McMartin Preschool?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So the McMartin Preschool, what is your position on the McMartin Preschool? Let's just start it right there.
I think it's a huge cover-up. The guy, Ray Bucky, he confessed. His confession was thrown out. The actual investigators, the investigation book was found at his house when they were searching his house. The kids talked about rituals. There's like actual police reports of the kids being anally raped.
Okay, so
yeah.
All right.
There's actual.
Where are you getting this information?
It's public information.
Okay.
If there's police reports, I mean, I could send you a bunch of links. It's not made up. You know, I lived in the area. I'm from the Harbor area and the South Bay area of LA, and I remember it well.
Mhm.
You know, I remember the story well for many years, and then it just kind of went off the news, and then a couple of years later, the case finally ended, and they said they were innocent. But the jury said that they thought he was guilty, but the instructions they were given, they couldn't do the guilty plea or whatever conviction. So I think I think it was covered up.
Okay. So, all right. So there were several things you said there that
Mm-hmm.
that I mean I really wanted to let you go because I think it's important for the people who don't understand this case to have sort of a synopsis of it or an understanding of it, because it's, I mean, it's just, I mean, all of these cases you have to have a certain level of understanding of it in order to really be able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So the first thing you had mentioned was about Ray Bucky.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who was one of the people who was on trial. It was actually him and his mother, him and his grandmother, he and his mother, I believe, who were accused of abusing these children. It was brought, or there was one of the mothers of the children who were in this daycare. Her name was Judy Johnson, who was
Oh,
she had severe mental issues. She was
well, that's what they said. That's how they framed it.
right. She committed suicide.
That's another thing they said.
Yeah. So, but even the prosecution understood that this woman was mentally unstable. She was I want to say it was schizophrenic,
You
but
know, it doesn't change the fact of the police report that showed that her son was molested. Doesn't change the fact.
I'm sorry, what?
It doesn't change the fact that there is a police record of her son being anally raped. A 3-year-old doesn't
Oh,
change the fact.
you're talking about Judy Johnson's?
Yeah, she's the first accuser.
Right,
Yep.
right. So she was the first accuser. And then
Mm-hmm.
what had happened was the police had sent out kind of a mass mailing to all the parents of the children at this daycare center talking about what had happened. And suddenly all the other parents were concerned about it. And this whole panic came out. And everybody was, the mothers were concerned that that the kids had been involved in this. But the trial went on for 6 or 7 years, I believe. Do
Yeah.
you remember how long it went?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Five or six.
And there weren't just like one trial, there were like several trials. There was the trial of I forget her name, the mother Bucky, and then the Ray Bucky, and then all the charges basically were dropped against her and him, and then there were still charges charged against him, and it got thrown out of court. There just wasn't enough sufficient evidence. So you're telling me now that there was evidence that they missed, or somehow it wasn't included in a trial, or I don't know.
It's all
The Illuminati came in and snuck
no.
the evidence out. I mean, what do you think happened with this trial?
Yeah, I never said no Illuminati shit.
Yeah, I know. I threw that in.
There are transcripts of the trial, and you could find them online. And yeah, his confession was thrown out. And like I said, the investigator's little book was found at his house. I mean, whoever was investigating it, the guy that he was also killed, and they also said he committed suicide. His investigation book was found out.
No. That okay? Wait, no. Judy Johnson was the lady who committed suicide.
There's 5 murders connected to this case, in case you didn't know.
No, there's not.
Yeah,
there's one other one.
Paul Bynum was
one of the investigating officers.
Yeah.
Okay, and who are the other 3 then?
Karen Kloss, Karen Kloss's husband, and I forget the other one. Oh, the guy they called the Wolfman. He was killed.
How were they involved in the case?
I mean, This is a long story, man. I mean, I thought you knew about this case.
You apparently know a lot of details that
Yeah.
I'm unaware of. So yes,
Yeah.
yes, educate me.
Okay, so the little kids talked about a guy called the Wolf Man, and his name was, I think his name was, his last name was Hamill. So I forget his full name, but if you just Google Wolf Man McMartin case, I think it was Robert something Hamill, right? And so the day before he was supposed to testify, he was murdered.
But how was he involved in the case?
Because all the kids identified him.
Okay, because okay, so the kids identified him, but what was his actual role? Was he somebody who worked at the daycare center? Was he somebody who hung around a daycare center? Was he one of the parents? Who is this person?
I don't know if he was at the daycare center or they took the kids somewhere else because there were tunnels found.
So let me just rephrase my position. I only know the facts of this case. I only know the facts. I don't know hold on one second. I don't know every single little obscure position everybody has or every little opinion or whatever. I don't have all of this subjective nonsense that was not included in the trial. The only thing I'm going to deal with are going to be the absolute facts of this case because it's already been through a 6-year trial. There was a professional judge. There were professional investigators. There were archaeologists. There were a number of people. It was the most expensive trial in U.S. history, and they concluded that these people were innocent. So I deal only in facts. So if you're going to be talking about some Wolfman Jack who...
I'm not talking about Wolfman Jack, and there is news reports of his murder connected to the case. There's news reports. Maybe you're not aware of them because they buried a lot of this information. Maybe you're not aware of them.
Oh, they buried a lot of the information. Oh, because who was burying this information?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. The guy has the investigator's handbook at his house.
Was it the reptilian overlords?
Yeah, that's a nice straw man attack. I'm talking about real facts that they found the investigator's handbook at Ray Bucky's house.
Because you don't even know who this person is.
You don't even know the case, bro. You don't even know the case. You admitted it.
So who was this person that these kids said was hanging around here? What was his role? What was his function in this whole trial?
Well, we'll never know. He's dead.
Oh, before he was murdered by an Illuminati hitman, what was his involvement in this?
Oh my God, dude. Are you going to just keep straw manning it?
I'm going to straw man when you bring up bullshit information. Yes.
You could look this up.
Bullshit information. Yeah, I'm gonna challenge you.
There's news articles.
You can't handle the challenge. You shouldn't be talking about this. So who are the other two people who were supposedly murdered during this case? And what was their involvement in it?
Karen Kloss was murdered.
Okay, what was her involvement?
Her son went to McMartin Preschool, and there was rumors that he was molested or whatever. Then her husband drove off a cliff in Oregon. Those are the two other murders besides Robert Hamill or whatever his name was, the Wolfman. Okay. And then there was Judy Johnson, and there was Paul Bynum.
Okay, so there's
5 murders.
Okay, so one of the other parents of these children drove off a cliff.
Yeah, but it wasn't in this. It was earlier. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. It was before all this came out.
So before the McMartin Preschool case,
there've been rumors of that molesting going on for years before the case ever came out.
So before the McMartin Preschool case even came to trial, this person committed suicide. I'm
not clear when he did. It's in a book by Alex Constantine.
So who is the lady you just mentioned?
Karen Kloss.
Yes, who is she?
She's the mother of one of the McMartin Preschool children.
And how was she murdered?
Well, for a long time, they said Bill Medley did it, but he was exonerated a couple years ago.
Okay, so I'm trying to deal in facts here, okay?
Mhm.
So, what happened with this person? Who murdered her?
I don't know. You cannot find any fucking info on it. You
Okay.
can't find info on a lot of this stuff.
So,
You have to really look for it.
what is her connection to this case?
Her son went to McMartin Preschool, and supposedly he was molested there. That's her connection to the case. All I'm saying is there's 5
So,
murders connected to this case, and you're acting like, there's nothing to it.
but you just admitted you don't know what happened. You don't know how she
I
was.
don't have it memorized. I read it a long time ago.
Okay, all right. What? Okay, so have we gone through all those people who you claim were murdered?
I mean, what do you have to say about the investigator's book being found at Ray Bucky's house? How
I
did
don't
that happen?
know. What? I don't know.
Well, how
Where
did
did
that
this
happen?
come from? This is another thing. Where did this come from?
Look, there's a gang of shit online. There's forums. There's a book by Alex Constantine. I mean, you could find this. It's not hard to find if you ever looked into this case.
Again, you have your opinion of this case, or you have your position, or you have your knowledge of this case, and I have my knowledge of this case. So I'm asking you you're educating me on this case because you claim that there are all these things that I'm not aware of. And so I'm asking you, what evidence, what article, or what was this in the court proceedings that this book was found?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Look at the transcripts. I can send you a link.
Then yeah, go ahead and send me a link.
I don't know if I can find it right now, but I'll look. Let me see.
And what is this link to? Is it to the court transcripts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I'll have to send it to you later because I got like 50 bookmark pages here. But
all right. So you claim that there was some kind of a book that was the investigator's book, like his personal notes and all this stuff. Okay, and it was found at Ray Bucky's house. Okay, so what? Okay, so and
how is that? How is that possible?
I don't know. That's a good question. So, but how would that change any of the facts of the case?
As far as there being some sort of conspiracy, I think that adds to why people think there is a conspiracy and a cover-up to it.
Okay, so let me see. So the McMartin preschool, there was allegations of sexual abuse that was happening at this.
It's like documented by police reports.
I'm sorry, what?
There's documented by police reports, and you may not remember the very first news was they said that they were taken into like a basement and told to play naked movie star on camera.
Okay. The reason why I'm establishing this is I'm just wondering who is going to be trying to cover this up. If it was an event that happened in a preschool, who's trying to cover this up?
I don't know. That's
why would they even try to cover it up?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. All right, but
I'm explaining why people think that there's a conspiracy behind this, because the so-called suicides look funny. The guy being killed before he's supposed to testify looks funny, and those other 2 murders look funny. So you're talking about 5 mysterious murders connected to the case, and then you're acting like there's nothing to it.
But you still haven't established how they're okay. The one mother, you established how she was involved in the case because one of her siblings or one of her children went to this daycare center. That's fine. The other 2 people, the Wolfman guy, he has absolutely no connection to the case. It's just somehow the kids brought his name up and fingered him as one of the people who was here, but we don't know what his involvement is. So how are you including him in this?
because the children they mentioned him, and he was going
So
to
the
testify.
children mentioned him. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the extent of his involvement.
I don't know. I don't know the extent of his involvement.
I'm talking in facts, stuff that you and I actually know. Okay. So what is his involvement? The kids, you claim that the kids said that he was there. Okay. But what other involvement did he have in this?
The kids said that he molested them. That's the involvement.
Okay. So we have that established. Fine. Now, who's this third person? Because you said there was 5 people who were murdered. Who's the third person?
Paul Bynum, the investigator.
Okay, but did he commit suicide or was he murdered?
They said it was suicide.
Okay, so let me back up. Okay, first of all, there's Judy Johnson, who I'm aware of, who I've actually read an article, who was found dead. She was an alcoholic. She had severe mental issues.
Her friend said she was an alcoholic and never drank. So,
I'm sorry, what?
Her friend said she was an alcoholic and she never drank.
Okay, whatever. So the autopsy report and the newspaper got all that information wrong. The second person was one of the investigators. I know that he.
Do you have the autopsy report? Do you have it?
Will you let me finish, please? Okay, so there was the investigating officer who committed suicide. Now you're telling me that there's 3 other people who were quote unquote murdered. One of them was a mother of one of the children who went to the daycare center. And then the fourth one was some wolf guy who the kids claim was there. So I'm asking you, who is this final 5th person who you claim was murdered?
Karen Clausen's husband, the father of Damien Claus.
The guy who committed suicide.
He was driven off a cliff in Oregon. You can't really find any news reports about it.
And this was even prior to...
It's in that book by Alex Constantine.
I'm sorry, what?
There's a book on McMartin by Alex Constantine, and it's in that book.
Okay, it's in that book. So, but this person committed suicide even before the trial took place?
I'm not sure when he...
You're not sure when he committed suicide?
I'm not sure that he committed suicide and he wasn't driven off a cliff. I don't know the details of the case.
But what is his connection to this case?
He was the husband of Karen Claus.
Okay.
And Karen Claus's son.
When did he commit suicide? Or when was he
alleged
to commit suicide?
I don't know. It's in that book. I don't have a copy of it.
Okay. So supposedly 5 murders were involved. Okay. What else do you feel is the strongest piece of evidence to prove that there was something funny going on in McMartin, or you feel that somehow the investigation was faulty or whatever? I'm just wondering what your next argument is.
Well, besides the investigator's book being found, there's the tunnels.
Okay. Explain your position on the tunnels.
Archaeologist from UCLA, Gary Stickle,
mm-hmm.
He found the tunnels that...
You're referring to the 1993 report?
I'm not sure that it was that late. I think it was way before that. But yeah, he found the tunnels, and he sticks by his work to this day. So, I mean, there's the tunnels to the next building.
Mm-hmm. And what was found inside of those tunnels that were actually filled up? Dirt.
Yeah, they refilled the dirt. They
mm-hmm.
proved that it was refilled.
Mm-hmm. But what else was found in it?
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
There was no garbage refuse found in those holes?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so those holes that Stickler found they had refuse in them. They had garbage in them. In the very bottom, there was an old mailbox. People can look this up for themselves. It's the Stickler, archaeology reports. So those were not tunnels; those were holes. Those were holes.
Well, no, it was a tunnel to the next building, and there's a picture of
tunnels.
investigator.
There were no tunnels. Those were refuse holes.
I mean, you could look this up. There's a picture of the tunnel going to another building, and they're showing the hole in the ground in the other building.
Sure, I'd love to see that. Show me it.
Okay. Let me try to find it.
Good luck. I'll be right back. Good luck on that. And take your time, no rush. I'll entertain the chat while you're doing that.
Well, here's the thing about anything to do with McMartin. It's very hidden. It's very buried. I guarantee I could come up with that, but I can't just come up with it like right now. But there is a picture of him standing over the tunnel from the other building. The Ted Gunderson guy.
Okay. Yeah, Ted Gunderson's a... You know why he... Ted Gunderson. All right, let me see. Okay, did you find it?
No, I didn't find it. Dude, I'd have to look for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But so the McMartin preschool, there were tunnels connecting to what? What were the tunnels connecting to?
Just to the next building. And then the kids said that they were driven to other places.
What was the building?
It was just like a condo next door or something like that, or apartment building.
Okay, so you believe there are tunnels connecting to the preschool to this condo complex?
I mean, yeah, it was. They were found.
So how was the condo complex involved in the kids claiming that these holes were where they were flushed down into?
Well, the kids said that they were taken in the basement and took through this tunnel and driven off somewhere else.
Flown off to Mexico.
There's different stories, but who knows?
A lot of different stories, like the sharks. You aware of that one, the flying sharks?
I don't know. All I know is that these are preschool age children, and they might have added
imaginations. Yes,
a little bit of imagination, but it can't all be. You can't just say they were all lying. I mean, there's a bunch of them, and they had physical abuse to their bodies. So, I mean,
okay. So let's see.
That's the problem with the whole satanic panic narrative of this particular case, is because basically don't believe your children.
That's absolutely not what it is. It's actually the opposite of that. It's actually, yes, believe your children, but don't let people, influence your children. Yeah, you should believe your children. If something happens to them, yes, you should. But you should also understand that you have to get professionals involved.
There was professionals involved.
Huh?
There was professionals involved that interviewed the children.
Yes, there were professionals involved. Exactly. There were professional investigators. There was a judge, and they seen all the facts of this case, and they determined that they were innocent. So, yeah, I know. And now here we are, it's 2019.
There's physical...
More than 29 years after it, and I'm talking with somebody about 3 random murders that had absolutely nothing to do with the case, and tunnels that somehow connected to condos that was never part of the investigation. So, yeah, I know the case has already been looked into. It's already been solved. It's already been done. But here we are addressing it because you believe there is some kind of a conspiracy. And then when I ask who the conspiracy is, you don't know who that is.
How would I know?
I don't know, but you believe it's a conspiracy.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Oh, it's pretty obvious. Okay, then who is it?
How would I know? Like I said.
Oh, you said it's obvious.
When there's 5 murders, there's 5 mysterious murders connected to the case, and there's a fucking tunnel going from the preschool to another building. I mean, you got to be naive to think that there something strange didn't happen there. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what else? What else is a strong? What else do you think is a strong indication supporting your position on the McMartin preschool?
Besides the fact that there was a bunch of police reports and physical evidence that they were molested. I mean, how much more evidence do you need?
Well, apparently quite a great deal, because the investigators and the judge determined that this case was already, they've already been determined to be innocent. So whatever
the court says is true, right?
What?
If the court says someone's guilty or not guilty, it's true, right? So the Memphis 3, they weren't guilty, but and these people weren't guilty, but other people are guilty. I mean, you know what I mean? So you're whatever the court says is true. You know what I mean? And I'm saying I don't buy it. I don't believe it.
Yes. Okay, we have judges and jurors for a reason, so that they can weigh the evidence and determine guilt. And if the person is found guilty, what is the reasonable punishment for that crime? These people were put on trial. It was 6 or 7 years long. It was the longest trial in history. It was the most expensive. And there was several pieces to this court case. I think there was like three or four court proceedings that happened. There's a great deal of information that was looked into. There were archaeologists who went in and checked those quote unquote tunnels, which turned out not to be tunnels. They were actually refuge ditches. And this was determined because there was like bone scraps and tin cans and garbage. There was even an old mailbox in the bottom of this refuse. So that's what those tunnels were. They were refuse. That's what.
Why did they go to the next building?
It didn't. You're the one who believes that. If you look at the report that was done by Drexler or whatever it was in 1993, you will see the diagram of it. You will see the diagram of where those refuse holes are. You'll also see the conclusion of his discovery of what was inside those tunnels and where they led, and what his professional judgment was about those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, believe what you want, dude.
Yes, I prefer to believe facts and evidence. I don't know what.
Well, I don't know about your life experience, but Do
you think Bigfoot exists? Just out of curiosity.
No, I don't. Check this out.
What about gremlins, leprechauns?
Oh my God.
Fairies?
Dude.
I'm just wondering where you stop your craziness. That's all.
I don't believe in a bunch of conspiracies, all right?
Okay.
But this to me looks like a conspiracy, all right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, whatever.
Yeah. So what else do you think? What else do you think is strong about this case that all of this should be?
Like I said, the police reports of their physical abuse is the strongest thing there, but also what the kids said and the tunnels. I mean,
mm-hmm. Well, I don't know where you're getting this from, because my understanding is
it's in a daily breeze for years.
Done.
Huh?
The examinations of the children were done.
Yeah, they were done.
There was nothing unusual found.
Yeah, there was.
Okay, and what?
I don't have the fucking links to it right now, but they are there and I could send them to you. I have like 50 links related to this, so I would have to go on each page, scroll through it, and try to find the information. But I guarantee you that if I have the information, I can send you the links later,
Okay, that sounds good. You can do that. But just out of curiosity, this medical report, was it part of the original trial, or is this new information?
That was before the trial, yeah.
Okay, so was it part? What I'm asking is if this is new information or if it was information that was introduced during the trial.
Yeah, it was during the trial. I mean, it was when they put out the letter to all the people in Manhattan Beach, and then a bunch of kids were interviewed, and it was more than one preschool, by the way. There's like 8 other preschools that you know.
There was McMartin Preschool, and that was it.
No, there's Holy Cross. There was 2 Montessori schools involved, and there's like 4 other ones that you never see listed.
I have no idea about that. I don't know about that. The only one I know about is McMartin Preschool. I don't know about those other ones you mentioned.
Yeah, because like I said, I lived in the area. I remember this in elementary school. It was all over the news for like 2 years straight. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, it was like everyone just took their kids out of preschools, you know.
All right. So let me see if I understand your position correctly. And, you know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But you believe that Judy Johnson, excuse me, not Judy Johnson, you believe that Ray Buckey is guilty of what?
Molesting kids. I mean, the kid said that he took them into the basement and turned on a video camera and told them to play Naked Movie Star. I mean, that's in news reports in the very beginning.
Okay, so Ray Buckey is guilty, and you believe that this 7-year trial, one of the most expensive trials in history, was screwed up. Somehow they missed a couple of points. They neglected this evidence. There was a book that was left in Ray Buckey's home, supposedly. You know, one of the investigators left there. Hold on one second. I'm summarizing your position. And then there were 3 murders that supposedly were somehow connected with all of this. And then there were holes or tunnels that actually connected McMartin Preschool over to the condo next door. And the medical reports that was done and introduced during the trial was somehow, I don't know, somehow it was thrown out by the judge. So you believe this whole thing was just a mistrial, fiasco, a bunch of idiots didn't know what the fuck they were doing, losing evidence, doing all this stuff, and you believe that the whole trial was just a fiasco. Is that pretty much your position?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you think there's always justice? Do you think innocent people go to jail, or they don't, or guilty people don't go to jail? I mean,
I believe that our legal system is set up that if there is sufficient evidence to prove that somebody is guilty, they are found guilty. Now, whether or not there's other circumstances where that person might have been framed or they might have been, you know, misidentified. Yeah, of course, there's always possibilities of that. And yes, that sucks. But for the most part, I believe that 99.9% of the people who are found guilty are indeed guilty.
Yeah, I don't buy that, man.
A small minority, I am sure, who are just victims of unfortunate circumstances, and that sucks.
So, have you ever been on trial for anything?
Have I ever been on trial?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so have I, and I was prosecuted for conspiracy to distribute LSD. And yeah, the crime I was convicted of, I didn't do. So okay. I know that they lie. Fucking prosecutors will lie. So you can't tell me otherwise, because I didn't do what I was said to have done. I was never caught with drugs. You know what I mean?
But you're poisoning the well. You're believing because there's one incidence of something happening that all of it is corrupt.
Well, I'm going back to your point that you think 99% of the people that are guilty, you know, are prosecuted and guilty, and I'm just saying that I don't think so. I think our judicial system is very flawed.
All right, fine. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's a number that I pulled out of my ass. It's completely arbitrary. Okay. So what is a reasonable number in your mind of the percentage of people who are behind bars who are actually guilty?
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of it is a business. concerning like drug convictions, it's definitely a business to lock people up.
Okay. Well, whatever. The people who are found guilty, yes, sometimes they're innocent, but that's hopefully that's a rare case. So you believe this whole trial is a fiasco because the possibility of somebody being mistrialed or found in it, somehow you believe that this is sufficient evidence for you to believe that this whole thing was a mistrial.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, you got good lawyers. He had like the best lawyers, so you know. I mean, and at that point, this many years later, the kids have been through so much, and they don't remember because they were like 3 or 4 or 5 at the
Well, you
time.
know, there's some of those kids who came out and have talked about that case.
And other kids said, other kids still stick by their word today, but you can't find that. You can't find those kids. You know, you can't. So I mean.
So, what were some of the most outrageous things you said that you think was introduced during this case?
What do you mean?
Some of the allegations that the kids said were pretty severe. I mean, they were pretty bizarre. What do you think about those? I could refresh your memory if you want.
About the Wolfman, or?
Well, okay, I'm reading off of here. This is Wikipedia. I'm just going for the easy stuff. People can look it up. It's easy. You just look up McMartin preschool plus Wikipedia, whatever. But some of the bizarre accusations. They saw witches fly. They traveled in hot air balloons, and they were taken through underground tunnels.
Well, yeah, obviously.
What do you think about that? How do you think they got the hot air balloons in there?
Just kids' imaginations, probably.
Why would they be imagining the hot air balloons and not tunnels?
I don't know, but they did find a tunnel.
But why?
You did talk about going
to said that there was hot air balloons involved.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about little 3 and 4-year-olds. They might exaggerate a little.
And the murdering of the little rabbits.
Well, they did find bones of animals.
Chicken bones in the refuse. Yes. Yes, they did find chicken bones in the refuse, in those refuse tunnels. Or not refuse tunnels, refuse holes.
But they found a dead turtle, too.
Okay, they found a dead turtle.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the witches flying around?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but there is there's a video of the parents on some bullshit Geraldo video, and the one guy's talking about how they talked about ceremonies.
And there were children that were flushed down the toilets to those secret rooms. So how did that toilet system work? Did they ever discover that?
Like I said, I mean, little kids have imaginations.
Oh, I see. So they're imagining some of this, but not all of it.
Or exaggerating.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out where you are.
Yeah.
Let me see what else is here. This doesn't go very in depth, but it just touches on it a little bit. Wow. So the hot air balloons, you think the kids were making up. Same with the witches flying. And the toilet being flushed into those holes, you believe is, again, just the kids making it all up.
Or exaggerations.
Or exaggerations, okay. And then the rabbits that were supposedly killed there.
That could have happened. Who knows?
Okay, so that's on the possibly it could have happened. Okay.
Doesn't sound too far-fetched.
Oh, okay. Doesn't sound too far-fetched. All right, okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find, because I know there's more about this, but it doesn't look like this article goes into it.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is you have your opinions, I have my opinion, and ultimately, I'm not into like Pizzagate. You know what I mean? I think most of that is bullshit, and you know, I think we're in agreement on most things. You know, we just disagree on this case.
Well, you see that's kind of one. It's actually one of the most disturbing things that I come across in some people I talk with online, because it's like, yeah, I think that you're a rational, intelligent human being, and you're kind of like, yeah, that's bullshit. You know, I mean, the whole pizza thing, yeah, okay, I can see that. That's bullshit. And you can look at, like, some other conspiracies, like the Illuminati or reptilians or, extra dimensional demons or whatever. And yeah, you can go, oh, that's kind of crazy. But then if you look back at a case that was determined, like, what, back in the 1995 or
1990.
yeah, 1990s, and the trial went on for 6 or 7 years. It was the most expensive trial in history. There were a great deal of people who were interviewed. There were experts taken in. There was archaeologists who were called in. I mean, it was everybody was watching this trial, and the trial was complete. And I just don't understand, with the preponderance of factual evidence that's already been combed over by professionals, that somehow, you know people on YouTube can read a couple of articles or watch a couple of videos or maybe a video, and then suddenly just believe that this case was a fiasco or was wrong. It's like, what makes, I mean, I don't go back in history and go, oh, I don't know, look back at some trial and say, oh, it was some kind of a mistrial, or that wasn't the actual case or whatever. I mean, I don't do that. There's nothing that makes me believe that. So I don't understand what makes someone like yourself, who's obviously intelligent, and you're trying to find the truth. At least I assume you are. What makes you believe that you don't have faith in the legal system? I guess. Why don't you have faith in the legal system?
Well, I mean, I just told you why. I like my personal experience with the legal system. I was fucked over. You just look at like the OJ trial. That looked like bullshit to me, right? He got off. Just because someone is found guilty or not guilty doesn't mean that's what happened.
Yeah, I agree with you, and
So it's just an opinion, and the only reason
I'm going to refer you back to what I said about that position earlier. So I think you already understand my position about that, so I'm not going to rehash it.
Yeah. The reason why I even looked at this again is because it, like you said, it was all over the news from probably 86 to 88. It went out of the news, and then in 1990 they said, they won the case, and you never thought about it again. And for some reason, it came across me on YouTube, and I was looking at it. I'm like, that seems like bullshit. So I just looked into it, and that's really it. I don't really think about it on a daily. You know what I mean?
But, like, if you were to talk to somebody about this case, you would tell them that you would probably tell them that you believe that was a mistrial, correct?
Yeah, it looks like a cover up to me.
But okay.
Also, did you ever see the movie Indictment?
No, it's okay. I mean, I kind of want to repeat to you why you believe why this trial is a mistrial. Because I think you're intelligent enough, and I think you're aware enough to understand. I think you will see the flaw if I repeat this to you. But you believe that this was a mistrial based upon the fact that there were tunnels supposedly going from the preschool over to the condo, and you believe that the there were 3 other people who were murdered, and you're an adult and you believe that these people were connected somehow to this trial. And this also proves that the trial was a fiasco. In my opinion, I don't see that. I don't think either one of those are strong enough evidence to.
I think the main evidence is that the kids were actually molested, and it's in police reports. That's the main evidence.
That's the main evidence.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you getting this evidence?
There's police reports, and the professionals that examine them. I mean, it's documented.
But this was stuff that was already looked at by the investigating officers and the judge, correct?
Yeah, this is why the trial came up. It wasn't like Pizzagate where there was no victims or anything.
Okay, so you just don't believe you just believe that this trial was a mistrial.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean the investigator's book being found at his house in the tunnels, that just adds to what looks, doesn't look right, and also the supposed suicides. I mean, they committed suicide or they were killed the day before they were supposed to take the stand. 3 people. So it's very strange.
But it's not that unusual.
You know what?
Let me hear. Hold on one second. Let me see.
I mean, do you know another case where 3 people that were killed right before they were supposed to testify?
I only know of this case, and I only know of 2. You mentioned 2 other people. I don't know who the hell those people are. And in my opinion, you haven't given me sufficient correlation between these 2. Anyway, can you see my screen?
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can see my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am looking. There it is. Okay, so this is about the information about the second witness who they found, or not person involved in the case, really, who was found dead. So, it was this. Let me see. Paul Bunyan, 39, who was expected to testify today for the prosecution, was found dead Thursday morning in his Glendale home from a gunshot wound that was apparently self-inflicted. His body was discovered by his wife Vicky, a Los Angeles police officer. A Los Angeles police officer said Los Angeles Police Department Commander William Booth. Superior Court William Pounders told jurors that Bynum's death was not due to any criminal cause and ordered them not to speculate about it. All we know is that his body was found this morning, and District Attorney, this was a gunshot wound, apparently self-inflicted. I'm just going to skip through this down towards the bottom. Let me see. Bucky 29 is charged with 79 counts of child molestation in the case, and his mother, Peggy McMartin. Bucky, that's who it was, Peggy Bucky. 81 is charged with 26 counts of child molestation and shares a conspiracy count with their son. Prosecutors allege 14 children were victimized while they attended school. On December 19, 1986, Judy Johnson, the first parent to allege molestation at McMartin Preschool, was found dead in her home. The coroner's office said later she died of a liver disease consistent with chronic alcoholism. So you mentioned that she wasn't an alcoholic. I don't know how you fake a murder with liver disease, but maybe you know something I don't. And whoops, let me see here. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can find that the thing on the tunnels. Here it is.
Hey, where could I send you some links? Just
You
your
can
email.
you can email them to me.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is the other one on the tunnels. Oops. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. Uh-oh. Did I break it? There we go. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that's okay. So this is the McMartin preschool. This is the let me see. So okay, so this is about the McMartin case that began in August 1983. When a parent reported to police that her 2-year-old son had been molested by a McMartin staff member, Ray Buckey, dozens of children were examined by mental health professionals who used techniques now thought to be inappropriate and likely to yield false reports of abuse. In time, those examinations brought about more than 300 charges of rape, fondling, oral copulation, and other abuse, much of it ritualistic and done in tunnels under the preschool. The charges were lodged, against Buckey, his mother Peggy, Buckey, and 5 other women who worked at the preschool. In 1986, charges against all except Rick Buckey and his mother had been dropped due to lack of evidence. In January 1990, after a 33-month trial, the jury found the pair not guilty on 52 counts, but remained deadlocked on 12 other counts against Ray Buckey and 1 against his mother, although the judge dismissed the lone remaining count against Peggy McMartin Buckey. Ray Buckey was retried when the second trial resulted in a hung jury. Prosecutors decided not to try the case a third time, and the legal case was over 7 years. Wow, so it was 7 years long. After it had begun, the case cost $16 million to prosecute. Left children and parents feeling abandoned by the legal system, created lingering clouds of suspicion over the heads of the accused, and generated questions about the practice of both legal and child protection communities. So now this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. In 1993, so it's 1993, Gary Stickler reported the findings of his dig on the preschool property. Let me see. Okay, Stickle's dig was conducted from May to May 31st, 1990. His conclusions were stunning. The most substantial evidence for a tunnel was discovered under the north-east-west axis of the preschool. The apparent entrance was located under the west wall of classroom number 4. The signature of the entrance was clear, and it was clear that it had been filled in with soil and debris beyond the entrance. This northern tunnel meandered under classroom 4 and then under most of classroom number 3. The tunnel was indicated by many factors, according to Stickle. These included distinctive soil color, soil texture, soil compaction, the human-sized architecture, permitting passage, presence of an earthen roof, possibly shoring and presence of a great number of artifacts found densely intermixed in the artificial fill within most of the tunnel. Let me see. Let me scroll down. So here is the tunnel, the tunnel, which turned out to be actually 3 holes where refuse was found. Okay, so class 4 and class 3 doesn't leave the property. Do you see that?
This isn't Gary Stickle's his thing. This is some other guy's thing on the tunnels. It's another guy's conclusion.
This is what was under the McMartin Preschool Review and Behavioral Analysis of the Tunnels find by Joseph Wyatt of the Marshall University. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not the original tunnel thing that Gary Stickle did. So I mean.
Okay, so this guy got it wrong. So this is not accurate.
Also, then the Stickle investigation happened after the trial?
No, it happened because of the trial. Let me go down. Let me.
No. The trial was over in 1990.
Let me scroll all the way down to the conclusion. Okay. Conclusions. No tunnels have been found under the floor of the McMartin Preschool. More likely is that a rural homeowner's common trash pit, filled in and covered over, has been mistaken for a tunnel. How was the archaeologist able to reach his conclusion the tunnels once had existed? They had been evidently failed to give adequate consideration to the trash pit hypothesis. The archaeologist's training and experience likely suggested to him that all hypotheses that could have been accounted for his data should have been considered. However, more immediate variables such as parent and community approval were probably powerful enough to intrude upon his earlier training. That Stickle was digging with a single hypothesis and interpreting his findings only in ways to confirm that hypothesis also seems probable based on his stated purpose going into the dig. The project was different in that the goals of the project were highly restricted to search for the reported tunnels/rooms and or to recover any other data relevant to the abhorrent behavior, the aberrant behavior reported by the children and elsewhere. The data was encountered from the point on the constituted remains of the tunnel. Data can better project hypothesis would have been to uncover now says dig. Okay, so here it is. Yeah, areas 1, 2, 3, and 4. See figures 2, 3, and 4 of 5. The GPR depth of penetration was approximately 8 to 10 feet below ground level. No evidence was found to support the existence of filled-in below ground level. So let me see if I can find those images. I think this was it. This is figure 1. Yeah, I think that's it. Or it might be referring to his actual study. Okay, so there is more to the archaeologist's report, but little that would support the existence of tunnels. There was, however, one other item found in the middle of the tunnel that provides powerful evidence of a trash pit. It was the Morris family mailbox. Stickle described it as about 19 inches long by 9.5 inches in height. On its side was painted Mr. and Mrs. Carl Morris and 27 MB Boulevard. This was a standard rural roadside mailbox with a rounded top and a mail pickup flag indicator. The flag was missing, but the flag holder was there. Here it is. Many other questions remain as well. Why would the defendants have brought in filled dirt that included dozens of tin cans, bottles, trash-filled crockery, an inner tube, TV antenna, wire, steak bones, animal bones, and other such debris? Would Ray Bucky and the other defendants have brought in dirt from a dump? If they had gotten their filled dirt from a dump, what are the odds that its contents would exactly date from the 1920s and 1950s, when the earlier homeowners would have been dumping their household trash? So this is a guy who looked at that report, and he was the archaeologist who's done the investigation, or excuse me, the archaeological dig.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to believe it, I don't believe it. So.
Okay. So where do you have a link to Stickles? Did you send me that link?
Oh no, I was going to send you another link of the trial transcripts.
I don't see anything.
I haven't sent it.
Oh, you haven't sent it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I got to look through a bunch of links. Yeah, you can believe what you want, and I will believe what I want. To me, there a bunch of funny-looking things looked real funny to me. So.
Yeah, but it's not a question of, who's grabbing the trunk of the elephant, who's grabbing the leg of the elephant. There are simple facts. There are things that we can agree upon as facts, as objective truths.
I don't agree that.
So I'm not going to say that it's okay to subjectively believe that supposedly something happened, because that's not the case. There's facts, and then there's not facts. And what you were dealing with, in my opinion, is not facts.
Well, that's your opinion. They are stating that this is a fact, that the original tunnel investigation was bullshit, and I don't think it was. So, I mean, that's the whole thing is there's mysterious looking shit to this case, and that's why it looks like a cover up. That's the whole thing.
Who would be covering it up?
I don't know. You know, I don't have those answers. I mean, why was dude's investigation book found at his house? Why would he?
I don't even know if it was. You see, all of these things, all this stuff you're saying is not stuff that was introduced during the trial. So I don't know.
A lot of this stuff, I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is buried. You will be hard pressed to find the original.
Yeah, but how do you know that your sources are reliable?
The LA Times, the Daily Breeze, they're not reliable. I mean, what's reliable?
Okay, so, you know what? Pick one of those things that you feel is the strongest evidence and just send it to me and we'll look into it.
Yeah, I'll send you where they talk about police reports.
Just send it to me.
Yeah. All right.
God damn it.
I'm just trying to figure out, who do you think put that investigation book in his house, and who do you think molested these kids because they were in the care of this preschool?
Please.
Who did it? All these kids were molested?
Just send me the link, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So anyway, man, I get the impression from you that you don't think there's ever been any conspiracy ever. That whatever the official view is that's exactly what happened.
That's bullshit. Okay, that is not what I believe. What I believe is that I have faith in our court system, and yes, I think that the majority of the cases that go through our court cases are sufficiently looked into. I believe that our judge and our jurors do, for the most part, do their job, look at the evidence, and find guilt from that point. Yes, I do understand that there is the realm of possibility that somebody can be railroaded. Yes, it's within the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just also understand that what happens is that people spread misinformation. They spread lies, and people don't question the source of the information. So I'll often talk with people who have an assumption about a belief, but they won't look farther than, let's say, the headline of the article that they're emotionally running on. And if you actually look at the source of those articles, if you look at the source of the material, you'll come down to one source, and that is the court case. The court case was the final judge on this case. So if you were going to take all of the information that is out there on this case and you were going to put it through some kind of a evidence and fact and most intelligent possible way to discern all this information, it would be through a court case that has already been settled.
Okay. Are you around my age, or?
Yeah, I am. I'm older than you.
Do you remember when this case was in the news and everything?
If it was during the 80s, probably not.
Oh. Well, yeah. I just remember it because I lived in the area, and it was on the news literally for about 2 years straight. Like every day, it was in the papers, it was in the newspapers, it was on Nightline, it was on, you know what I mean, it was on mainstream media. It was
a very high profile case. Yes.
So when you try to find all those articles, you cannot find them. You cannot find when it was on 2020. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find that footage. You'll be hard pressed to find.
Did you send me the link or not?
I said I got to look through a bunch of shit.
Oh, okay, all right.
I could send you the Ray Bucky's testimony, but I could send you the other links later because I'd have to really look for them. But
just send me whatever you think is the strongest piece of evidence to support your side.
But what I was going to say is a lot of those news stories you cannot find anywhere, and they definitely existed. So you got to wonder why. If you look at McMartin, if you look at the story on YouTube or wherever you look, you're only going to find the trial, and the trial was bullshit, and that's all you're going to find.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's just put a cork in that for a second here. Why would anyone care what some grandmother and her, or what a mother and her son, why would they go to all this trouble to protect them? Why would they bother? Who would care? If they were found guilty of this, then they were found guilty of it, but they weren't found guilty of it. So who's protecting this literally this mother and her son?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, who would have took his investigation book and put it at his house?
I'm sorry, what?
Who would have took the investigation book and put it at his house?
I don't know. We haven't even proven that happened.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. How am I supposed to know who's behind this? How am I supposed to know? I don't know, but obviously there's something there. It's not.
Why is obviously something? What makes you think there's something there?
I just told you why, and you're like, hey, we don't even know if that happened. Well, I read that it happened, and there's fucking websites that cite it. I mean, there's a book on it. So
man. All right, whatever. Did you find that link?
No, I'm not even looking, dude, because you go into bookmarks, and then I have a folder of bookmarks. So if I click on one link, then I'll have to go back. I have to click on 50 links and look through 50 links. You know what I mean? Because it's a bunch of pages to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Go ahead, send it to me, and maybe I'll do another video on this. I just don't understand why. I honestly I just don't understand. I mean, I understand your position, but I don't understand it. It's really bizarre. I don't understand why people will believe this nonsense. I just don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense.
Well,
all right. Well, I think we're pretty much done here. I don't think there's any. I don't know. I don't think there's any other information or any other thing that we can go over that.
Yeah, but I'll send you some links, but just to let you know, I don't dwell on this. I don't, you know what I mean? I all these fake Pizzagate people, I told them, why don't you look into this case? Because there's something to it, and none of them ever did, and they still push that Pizzagate nonsense. But personally, I don't look into stuff like this because I don't want to think about it, and I don't really have a dog in the race one way or another. It's just my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm utterly baffled because you're 44 years old.
Yeah.
You went to college.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're obviously intelligent. I just don't understand. All right. Well, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. Believe whatever it is that you want to believe. So
Yeah, like I said, I'm not pushing it on anyone to think how I think. I'm not making a big case about it. Um, it's on people, to figure out for themselves. If they want to look into that, that's on them. Like it's over and done with. We'll never know what happened. We'll never know.
So it's just a big red question mark in the history of trials. We just don't know what happened.
Well, same with the OJ trial. Do we know what happened there? I mean,
Oh man. Okay, so you okay. So what you're doing is you're referencing the OJ trial, assuming that everybody thinks that the trial was a mistrial and he was actually guilty. But you do realize that there's also a large group of people who believe that OJ was completely framed and it was all the LA Police Department not wanting to look like they couldn't solve a high profile case. And so they tried to frame OJ, and OJ was innocent, absolutely 100% innocent of all the crimes.
yeah,
So,
I wasn't
what is
saying
your
that.
fucking point?
My point is, just because someone's prosecuted or not prosecuted doesn't mean the law got it right.
So, we should just reopen every single trial that has happened in history because it might have been a mistrial.
I never said that. I'm just saying.
No. I'm taking it one step further. I mean, what's to say that any trial was 100% accurate, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. So, by your logic, all trials, we should reopen them and re-examine all of them because
I mean,
they might have all been
your
mistrials.
words. That's your words, not mine.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, what makes the OJ trial a mistrial? And what makes
I
this
don't know.
a mistrial as opposed to another trial that was accurate?
I don't know that it was a mistrial or it wasn't.
So admit
not,
it. You are arbitrarily determining that this trial was a mistrial based upon the OJ trial. That's what you just said.
No, I'm saying that the courts don't always have it right.
So which trial has been a good trial that is 100% they were definitely found to be guilty? Which trial was that?
I don't know. I don't follow trials.
You don't even see your own hypocrisy, do you?
I see what you're trying to fucking.
You see what I'm quote unquote trying to do? You don't see what I'm pointing out.
You're acting like I have the answers to everything, and I don't.
Okay, let me start over. You believe that the McMartin preschool trial was a mistrial, correct?
From what I looked at, yeah.
Okay. You also, and then I question that, and you referenced the OJ trial, assuming that I believe.
What I was saying is, just because someone's guilty or not guilty doesn't mean that fucking shit. That's what happened. That's all I'm saying. And you're trying to make it out to something else.
Okay.
That I want to reinvestigate every trial on earth, and I don't.
But why not?
Because I have a life to live. I don't give a fuck what.
Okay. But what I'm trying. Let me see if I can slowly walk with you along this path for a second here. Okay, so just bear with me. This trial, the McMartin trial, was a mistrial. OJ trial was a mistrial.
No, I never said it was a mistrial. It just looks funny and people question it.
Okay. So the majority of trials, in your opinion, are looked into, and they are good trials, and there's a small percentage of them that are mistrials.
I think a lot has to do with how much money they had to beat the case, and definitely they had the best lawyers in the McMartin case.
So your ability to get out of a trial is based upon how good your lawyer is or how much money you spend on your lawyer.
Definitely.
Okay. I see. Well, I can't exactly argue with you there. I think that that is true. I think that if you have a good lawyer, yes, your chances of getting off are, I would say, stronger. I don't know if it's an absolute guarantee.
No, I wouldn't say it's a guarantee. You have better chances.
Yeah, I think it increases your chances.
Yeah.
So, whatever. You know, I'm confident enough to say that there are things that I believe have been judged and done and settled, and I don't need to rehash them.
Yeah.
I have faith in our court system, and when I look at this trial, even just I look at it just a little bit. Every one of those questions that we've gone over has been answered.
What
And
about them throwing out his confession? And the jury said they would have liked to convict him, but they couldn't. They all thought he was guilty.
okay, so
And
where
that's
is
on
this
record.
coming from?
What?
Where is this coming from?
Like I said, I could send you the link.
I asked you to send me links earlier.
Yeah.
You didn't do it.
Yeah, I'll
So
send them.
what am I left to do?
When we're done here, I'll send you them. But yeah, he confessed and they threw it out. So, you know,
So
only a good lawyer can get that done.
okay, I don't know what to say. I'm honestly just done with this. I don't know. I was hoping to have like a good conversation with you and have an intelligent debate or not really even a debate, just an intelligent discussion and we would look at some evidence and you would have some links and you would be prepared for this and you know we would just go through it and you know, I don't know. I didn't think that either one of us would be convinced of the other, but I was just hoping that you would introduce some new information or something that I was.
Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't totally prepared, man. But I'll send you those links, and you can do whatever you want with them.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, dude, I got nothing against you, man.
Yeah, I don't have anything against you either. I just don't understand why you. I just don't understand why you believe something that's been investigated and it's been settled. It happened and it's done. And it's just like I don't understand why I just don't understand why you don't have faith in our legal system that it was done correctly.
Well,
And obviously you've already told me why you don't because you believe a small percentage of the cases. Hey, yeah, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So all right, but I do appreciate you, chatting with me, and I do appreciate you coming on. And I do appreciate you giving your position, and I know I can be an asshole, and I know I can be a dick. So I appreciate you putting up with that.
That's all good, man.
Yeah. So all right, so I'll tell you what, Justin, if you send me those links, I will make a video and I'll look into them, and maybe we can go from there. Maybe we can revisit this.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Everybody in chat, I'm so sorry. I didn't have a chance to pay attention to you. So my apologies for that. Maybe I'll continue and I'll have a little, actually it's almost 10 right now. So maybe not, but maybe I'll have a hangout tomorrow and we can just chat. So, all right, Justin.
All right.
Oh yeah. What's the name of your channel? So if people want to check you out, they can.
It's GMCDXX.
Okay. So if you want to, if you say something in chat, just like say hello or hi or whatever, then people will be able to click the three dots that are next to your name, and they can actually go to your channel from there.
All right. I'm not on your channel, so I have to go there real quick. But yeah, I'll say hi.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much, and have a good night. And Justin, maybe we will revisit this at a later date. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Cheers. Good night, all. Good night, Justin.
Later.